2020 was a turbulent year for the Turkish economy. Like the rest of the world, the country enforced costly lockdowns to contain the coronavirus. It saw steep job losses and volatile swings in the value of its currency, the lira. But now, after more than a year since the pandemic began, Turkey's economy is showing signs of improvement. The International Monetary Fund says it expects the Turkish economy to grow by 6% in 2021. It also predicted there would be a modest drop in inflation towards the end of the year. That's in large part to the strengthening lira, a reversal from the record lows it saw last year. In December, Turkey and the UK signed a free trade agreement, which is expected to further boost exports. A lot of optimism is also stemming from the rollout of a coronavirus vaccine, which has already reached at least 2 million people. But with growing fears of a new variant of the coronavirus and an uncertain global economic recovery, will Turkey's run of good luck continue? And to answer that, joining me from Istanbul is Taha Arvas. He is a financial columnist and analyst, and Alvaro Ortiz, who is the head of big data research at BBVA in Madrid. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Taha, the IMF expects Turkey's economy to expand by around 6% in 2021. What's your take on that? And what specific measures you think made that possible?
Right. So I think it's important to note that that figure is one of the greatest for countries in the region and around the world. And I think Turkey is going to enjoy that that growth figure primarily on its early actions that it took with lockdowns in Turkey, and then staggering those lockdowns later on. And now we're currently in a state of on-off again lockdowns in Istanbul, which is in Turkey rather, which I think helped both not only alleviate the pain, the economic pain from the pandemic, but also slowed the growth of the spread of the virus. And that's why we have this growth. I think if we had just shut down completely, or if we had done the opposite, then we would have lost overall economically and health-wise. But I think the combination of the two served Turkey well. And 2021 should be a great year in that respect.
Alvaro, you have stated that Turkish economy could even expand by 10% in 2011. What made you come to that conclusion, and how is that goal achievable?
Well, we expect for this year it is in line with the IMF with the 5 to 6%. What we expect is that the economy it is going to grow in the first half of the year near 10%. There is a special reason for that. It is first, it is that the first quarter it is being better than expected, and second, that during the second quarter we will have a very low base relative to the last year. So that don't be surprised if the economy grows near 15% in the second quarter. So with that we have a 10% during the first quarter, and then we expect some deceleration. So I think that this 5%, 6% that the IMF it is mentioning is quite feasible.
So Taha, actually, you have just briefly mentioned it, but we know that Turkey has been aggressive in rolling out COVID vaccines, and it already distributed 2 million people in the country. Can you talk about how these measures could affect its economy as well as its tourism sector this year?
As you said, the federal government in Turkey has been very aggressive in pushing the vaccine, in distributing it, and this will help to obviously protect the population, but also prepare it for the arrivals of tourists just as tourism season kicks in here. But more importantly, as you probably know, there have been new steps to allow for new arrivals, tourists, to be tested before coming to the country, which will allow both tourists that are already here and tourists that hope to come here to be at ease in knowing that they will be safe, that the country is very much proactive in its attempts to make sure that the virus isn't spread. Because you can go on vacation anywhere, but if you go to a country with no tests or with no serious vaccine rollout, you're just going to be inviting disaster. So I think Turkey has been successful in that respect, and if it keeps these precautions in place until the vaccine is spread wide enough so that herd immunity is achieved, then I think it'll be in a great place.
So, Alvaro, how have the government's new economic policies, in your opinion, changed the course of the country? What do you think has specifically been done to put the Turkish economy back on track?
Well, sincerely, in our opinion, has been a radical change. So it is truly a game changer. The new policies implemented by not only by the central bank, but especially, but also by the finance ministry are much more coordinated, tackling the vulnerability. The main worry it is now inflation. I think that this is pretty sound for the economy. The foreign investors have started to pay off. You can see also the Lira quote these days. And what it is needed is persistence. So this is not a matter of just to work on that 2 or 3 months. Is we have to maintain this line for a long period of time. And at the end, the results will pay off.
So according to data, Taha, Turkey's manufacturing activity has improved and job creation hit 3-year highs, as well as Turkey saw records exports in December and strong numbers in January. How much of an impact did the Turkey-UK free trade agreement have on these good figures, let's say?
I think that the anticipation of the agreement may have helped those numbers, definitely, but for the full effect to come in, we're going to have to wait until 2021 to see the impact. I did want to mention one other thing that we were discussing earlier. It's that Turkey's economy is very much consumer-based. So while this is very important, these figures you're talking about, it's important to note that the Turkish consumer, like other developed countries, has quickly increased its spending online and has moved to technological ways of acquiring goods, which 10 years of growth happened in a matter of months in Turkey as far as adoption of these measures. And obviously the UK-Turkey agreement is very important. When you mentioned that, I was remembered a Turkish company that had gone to the UK to start a business in delivering goods online there, and that's why I brought that up. But I think the UK-Turkey agreement will be very important going forward, and 2021 will be a year in which the fruits of that labor will blossom and will be beneficial for both countries.
So Alvaro, in terms of foreign direct investment, what kind of opportunities does Turkey offer?
I think that the general climate for FDI will continue to improve this year after the pandemic. The most important thing, I think, is to continue with these really sound policies by the central bank and the ministry to reduce structural volatility. Turkey is a population dynamic economy with normally high growth. And if we continue to make efforts to reduce the volatility and uncertainty, I think that the investment will come back again.
So, Taha, behind its traditional partners, where else could Turkey lay an eye on in terms of drawing foreign direct investment?
I think it's the pandemic has obviously it's been bad for millions of people around the world, but it's also created new opportunities for a lot of countries and a lot of investors that are looking for growth. This is going to be a problem for, frankly, many European countries, many other countries that were struggling before with growth. Countries that were doing great before will only do better, and countries that were doing poorly may do worse. So if you're looking for returns on investment, as far as FDI goes, specifically long-term or medium-term investments to pay off, you're looking for high growth countries with a lot of room to grow, potential to grow, and Turkey is one of those markets. And we see anecdotally recently some major steps coming from the Turkish government's investment office that attracts FDI, and we hear that there are a lot of large companies are looking to invest in countries like Turkey specifically with this growth potential. So I think it could be anywhere as far as if you're looking for locations. Far East, obviously North America, Europe. These are all countries that are looking to do well and looking for their investments to blossom. And I think that's what they're going to do by investing in FDI in Turkey.
So, Alvaro, moving forward, what should be the appropriate policy mix as the both Turkish economy as well as the global economy still try to navigate the COVID-19 uncertainty?
But I think that the policies could rebalance a little bit. I think that this year we will need tight monetary policy, especially because because Turkey has a special problem with inflation. I think that fiscal policy could target some of the more vulnerable people due to the pandemic. But in essence, I think, and I agree with the central bank, that we have to maintain tight monetary policy at least for this year until the inflation expectations start to reduce.
So what if, Taha, new variants of the coronavirus prove difficult to contain? How would this impact the Turkish economy? I mean, could we be back to square one?
Right. So this is the $64,000 question. The variant. We hear of more dangerous variants being exposed, by the population being exposed in Europe, in South Africa, in other countries, in other parts of the world. Turkey has yet to experience that level. There is, like I said, anecdotal evidence of these variants arriving in Turkey, but it seems to be very small at this point. Obviously, the new implementation of these tests before arriving in Turkey from foreign countries is a good step. Quick rollout of the vaccines will be very important because we hear that the vaccines also help mitigate the response, the body's response to the variants, which is good news. So if the variants are very troublesome, very much more dangerous than COVID-19, which is dangerous in and of itself, as we know, then that's going to be a challenge for a lot of countries. But like I said earlier, Turkey is one of the most proactive countries in battling the virus, so that's going to be good in allowing it to shield itself from exposure to economic downturns because of these new variants.
So, Alvaro, how well resistant is the Turkish economy as well as the Turkish banking system against possible shocks or, let's say, even sanctions?
I think that the possibility of sanction has diminished after the latest news on cuts in November and December. What is important is to maintain a significant buffer of credibility and also to sound policies, because nobody is absent to shocks to happen. It could be health, like COVID. It could be geopolitical. And what is important is to maintain alert during normally permanently to try to limit or to avoid these shocks to transmit the economy in a high way.
So how crucial, Taha, is the continuation of fiscal, monetary and financial measures, and what kind of challenges lie ahead for Turkish economy amid this, as we've talked, uncertainty?
The largest risks going forward are with Turkey's trading partners. If they do not recover, if their consumer spending does not recover as well, I mean, that's obviously about 1/3, a little less than a third of Turkey's economy is these trade with these countries. Then Turkey will also be adversely affected. But if we believe that the worst is behind us, that the pandemic will be put under control, that fiscal stimulus in Europe and the United States, Turkey's trading partner is Europe. So if Europe recovers quickly from this, if Europe's central bank, eases its monetary policy, which it has done, and allows for consumers to again spend and borrow where needed, and helps shore up companies and their ability to access financing, then our Turkey's largest trading partner won't be affected as adversely, and that's good news for Turkey. On the flip side, we talked about Turkey's largest component of Turkey's economy, the consumer spending, and that consumer spending is one which has rebounded largely during the pandemic and has actually become more efficient with all these people going online for spending. So obviously there are risks, but Turkey is well placed to weather those risks at present.
Yeah, let's hope that I hope the best for our European trade partners, gentlemen. We'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk.